Hey, what's going on? We are on our way to the Dead Sea region. First stop, Masada. We are here at the Dead Sea already. We haven't gotten to Masada yet, but I wanted to pull over so you can see the scenery of the Dead Sea. Like, this is incredible. This is the north part of the Dead Sea. I guess the beginning of seeing it. It's apparently the Dead Sea is enormous. Again, this is something I thought was a little small area. It's not. It's kind of like the Sea of Galilee, where it's just this enormous body of water. Just checking out the scenery here. Yeah, we're here at the Dead Sea. Check out, the car just fell off the ledge here and flipped. Hopefully nothing happened to the driver.
Hey guys, we just got here to the Dead Sea and we have beautiful views all around.
We will go our way until we go flatline.
This view is incredible. This reminds me of when God himself came down to Mount Sinai to meet Moses face to face and give him the commandments. I can see why the Israelites were scared when they saw it, because I'm just like envisioning it here. And God himself was descending onto the mountain, looking something like this, with smoke filling the whole area. I can see why they were scared. I'd probably be freaked out myself just picturing it. It's pretty scary, but amazing to see nonetheless. These views are incredible. All right, so we are here at Masada right now. I mean, the views here are crazy, insane. We just entered, so we're about to see this place here. Very interesting place. King Herod himself built this. I'm sure you might have heard that name before. It's mentioned in the New Testament when when Jesus was born. King Herod ordered the death, or pretty much the murder, of every baby 2 years or below in Bethlehem at the time, because he heard about the coming of the Messiah, or the future king of Israel, which was Yeshua. So he ordered the death of every baby in Bethlehem. He also killed his own 2 children and I believe his wife and all. Evil guy, but the guy was a genius nonetheless. The things that he's built, from Caesarea to Masada to what's the other one, Herodian, which we didn't get a chance to go to. Hopefully we can still, go see that place. But incredible, like, just everything that he's been able to build. The guy was a genius, evil, but a genius nonetheless. So one thing that I wanted to do is give you a quick history before we get into this place, before we show you everything. I want to touch on the history behind this place. So back in 70 AD, you had the Romans. Jerusalem was destroyed, the temple was destroyed, and so the Romans were after the Jews at the time. So the Jews that remained, the rebels, pretty much escaped to this place here, Masada, which King Herod himself built. And they came here in order to escape the Romans. They didn't want to go into captivity by the Romans or anything. So they came here and they decided that once they saw the Romans surrounding the place and the Romans were coming, they were outnumbered. I think there were like 200 of them or something along those lines. They ended up doing pretty much like a mass suicide, which was, very sad when you think about it. But they basically didn't want to go into captivity. So between each other, they killed each other. All the men killed the men, the women, the children, and then at the end, the last few who remained just killed themselves, and and that's it. And they ended up not going into bondage or into captivity with the Romans. One thing that I find interesting is that Yeshua himself, Jesus, in Luke 21, Jesus predicted the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. This was 40 years before the temple was actually destroyed. Jesus himself predicted, he prophesied and predicted and nailed it. I mean, pinpoint accurate, prophecy about 70 AD and the destruction of the temple. And this is in Luke 21, verse 5, starting in verse 5. And while some were speaking of the temple, how it was adorned with noble stones and offerings, he said, as for these things that you see, the days will come when there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down on the temple. And they asked him, Teacher, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of when these things are about to take place? So this was around 40 years before this happened. And then verse 8, he said, see that you are not led astray, for many will come in my name, saying, I am he, and the time is at hand. Do not go after them. And when you hear of wars and tumults, and do not be afraid, for these things must first take place, but the end will not be at once. So this was him predicting what was going to happen in 70 AD with the destruction of the temple 40 years before it even happened. I mean, pinpoint accuracy with this prophecy. Amazing accuracy with this prophecy. Luke 21 verse 20, but when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation has come near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains, let those who are inside the city depart, and let not those who are out in the country enter it, for these are days of vengeance to fulfill all that is written. Alas for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, for there will be great distress upon the earth and wrath against the people, this people Israel, the Jews, and they will fall by the edge of the sword and be led captive among all nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled underfoot by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled, which, by the way, the times of the Gentiles have not been fulfilled yet. So Jerusalem is still currently being trampled on by Gentiles. So let that sink in, right? And then what's interesting about this is that back in Matthew 27, verses 24 and 25, Pilate said basically, this man is innocent about Jesus, about Yeshua, that this man is innocent. I'm innocent of his blood. I don't want to do this. This is on you guys. And in verse 25, the Jews that were there, they all say, and all the people answered and said, his blood be on us and on our children. Right there, he said it. His blood be on us and on our children. This was 40 years before all of this took place. I believe this played a role in some of the craziness that happened back in 70 AD. The reason I say that is because if you read in the Talmud is the book that the Jews believe in, right? It's pretty much a compilation of rabbinic literature from the sages, the rabbis, a lot of literature. So this one is from Yoma 39b. It says, but during the 40 years prior to the destruction of the Second Temple, which was 70 AD, 40 years prior to the destruction of the Second Temple, the law for God did not arise in the high priest's right hand at all. So too, the strip of crimson wool that was tied to the head of the goat that was sent to Azazel did not turn white, and the westernmost lamp of the candelabrum, however you say that, did not burn continually. So what this is saying is that for Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, they used to sacrifice animals for atonement of sins. But 40 years before 70 AD, which was 30 AD, which was when Yeshua, Jesus, actually died, who was the atonement, who was the sacrifice for our sins. 40 years before the destruction of the temple, 30 AD, when Yeshua died, the atonement in the temple stopped being accepted by God. God started rejecting it 40 years before the destruction of the temple, which was 30 AD. This is Yoma 39b in their own book. Crazy coincidence that 40 years before the destruction of the temple, exactly when Yeshua died, God started rejecting their sacrifices, their animal sacrifices for their atonement of sins. In other words, you weren't being, your atonement of sins no longer worked sacrificing animals because Yeshua just died for your sins. So this is proof right here that God himself started rejecting Israel and the things that they did, and not rejecting Israel per se, because obviously God is going to bring back the two houses of Israel, the house of Israel, the house of Judah, but he definitely pushed back, and I believe that was all part of something that took place here in 70 AD, which all of this ties in together. So the history here is incredible. It's mind-blowing. I've dreamed about coming to this place, and I'm about to go have a blast like a kid at a toy store. Here, I'm not sure what this is, but and over here they have the commandant's residence. It says, I'm trying to find the pool because they have a pool up here somewhere. I don't know if it's on this side, but there's just, I don't even, this place is so big, I don't even know where to begin, honestly. But yeah, right here we see some, what appears to be like some little areas where, who knows, I don't know if people would just hang out there or what, but they're just like
Where?
empty rooms down below, like caves that kind of look like rooms that were kind of carved out. So
Looks like a big cave.
yeah, and then right here you have like the steps going down. Very interesting. So this is the Commandments residence. This is like the living room area apparently. Look at those pillars here. Beautiful. Yeah, pillars right here. Ancient pillars, Roman pillars. Rooms here. This was a nice house. This was a nice house. This was definitely a nice house. Over here we have a couple rooms. It's like MTV Cribs. We're doing MTV Cribs. Masada.
Masada.
This is a pretty nice house. We need CPR.
Go over here. Check out. I'll show you my other room. Right. So in this room.
There's nothing here. This is a big hole. And we got a nice view.
Check out my view right here.
Check out my
MTV Cribs, baby. Check
Yeah.
out my view.
That's me.
This is how we live. This is the view they had. They had views even in those days. They believed in views even in those days.
Yo, I love this. This is so cool. Oh my gosh.
Something's in the air. I can feel it everywhere. Every color seems to bloom, and there's light in every.
This was the main entrance.
Yeah, this is a really big room. This is where the store room is. Look at all of that. That's beautiful. The architecture is incredible. Look over there.
I can't wait.
Incredible. All right, so this is the storerooms complex. Apparently a few different rooms. This is huge. This is a
Wow.
big storage space.
Very big.
This is huge, and they have a few different ones right next to it as well.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh, there's like a whole room to run. Like,
For Rich to run storage room, but you use it to run.
big room to run.
This is huge. And here's another storage room. Here's another storage room right here. This thing is huge. They
Yeah.
had a lot of storage space up here. But it makes sense because this is a huge city, like literally a town on these mountains. Like this makes sense, especially considering that they had to be here 4 years, about 4 years. The rebels, the Jews were up here for about 4 years when the Romans were coming after the Jews at the time. So it had a lot of storage room, a lot of space for water, for everything. And it makes sense because, again, they were here for 4 years. They're basically under siege right now. I don't think they were I don't know how long they were actually under siege for, but they were pretty much hiding out for about 4 years. So they had to have all of this in place. Excuse me if you see me doing this, just the flies are just driving me crazy here.
Don't let me down.
This is crazy though. Look at all the storage rooms. They have a lot. Here's probably the biggest one from all of the ones that I've seen. I count like 6, a good 6 huge rooms like this. This is probably the biggest one that I see here. Super, super deep in there. But yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know they had this kind of storage space, but it makes sense that they would. Whoa, this is beautiful. The walls, the arch here. I'm not even sure what they did here, but you see a lot of remains here. This is a mikveh, ancient mikveh, where they used to baptize, right? or Dutevila, which is immersed in the waters, according to the Torah, according to the law of Moses. This isn't a New Testament Christian thing. This is from the Torah, the law of Moses. So this is what they call a mikveh, which is basically a baptism pool, and your Dutevila, which is immersed in the waters. So John the Baptist, right, in Hebrew, his name would be Yochanan HaMatvil, which would translate to English as John the Immerser, because that's what he would do. He would immerse people, Dutevila, on the people, according to the Torah. This is the Northern Palace. Northern Palace, and over there was the upper terrace. They had some crazy views from up here. Because over there is like a spot a terrace where they would just oversee everything. Of course, you know, this was a fortified city, so they had to see, you know, if other people were coming to overtake them or to harm them or something for protection. But I'm sure they also enjoyed these views, because how could you not if you see all this? Oh my goodness, look at this. Woo. There, come, look at this.
Puppy, come.
Oh my goodness, we gotta get a picture here. We gotta get a picture here. I bother this kid. I'm like, every time I see a shot like this, some scenery like this, he's like my little model who I just,
My cute
right,
model.
pose, my cute model. My cute model, he says. So, I mean, he's a lot cuter than me, of course, so,
Yeah.
you know, I gotta get him in the shot, because it's like, man, let me get him. If I can get him in these shots, these are like life-changing type of images, because I want to keep these and, you know, just have a collection of amazing pictures from crazy different sceneries and different places all over the world. Like, oh man, so this is one of those spots for sure. We got to get one right now.
Yeah.
This is
Oh my
amazing.
God,
Wow, this view
I
is
almost tripped.
crazy. Here are a couple different mikveh. You have 3. And over there are some rooms, not sure what those are, but here are 3 different mikveh, or aka baptism pools. Some might know them, but this is where they would do tevila and get immersed in the waters. And yeah, these are real, actual mikvehs, and incredible. I've seen mikvehs before, but to see ancient ones and insane, it's crazy to me. The water gate. So this is basically where the way they would get the water up here from the cisterns. Shad Hamayim.
So that's gonna wrap it up in this vlog. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Like this video, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Peace.